Hello, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Uh, Good afternoon to those in Asia, some in Australia, New Zealand. Good morning to those in Europe, and wee hours in the morning for those in the US, or maybe after dinner in the west coast of US. As you can see, I have been moving, and time is up, so I'll have to then start the session here. So my name is Jackson. I'm one of the 10 coaches from Life Coach Universities who come together to run a program called Let's Coach 2023 for the entire year of 2023. Really giving the opportunities for people around the world to be coached by different coaches from different time zones, different culture, background, and so on. Right. Again, my name is Jackson. I'm an entrepreneur, a wellness advocate, and I coach successful executives to seek clarity and in the process take on the next steps to mount their next breakthrough in life. And my topic for 2023 is the good, the bad, and the ugly. So as you can see, something just happened in real life that I ran out of time, and due to circumstances, whatever that may be, that sometimes you have to do things that are not perfect. I was all set up in the library at the new place that I just relocated to, and thinking that I could do it in the library, but there were other people. They call it a library, but they were all quiet, and I thought it's better not for me not to disrupt their peaceful time. Hence, I made my way out, trying to move to another location and ensuring that I have Wi-Fi coverage that will enable me to do this session for all of you. So not an ideal position, I have to move, but that's the reality in life. And I'm just wondering for you guys if you have had those experiences before, whereby you plan for certain things to happen and then ultimately the thing don't go your way. I'm sure all of us have experienced that, some more than the others. So when these things happen, what do we usually do? You have practically two choices. One is to allow the situation to take control of you, meaning getting you into anger, frustrations, and unhappiness, or you can take in whatever it is, take a deep breath, enjoy the process, and through this, learn, we get used or attempt something different, like what I am doing today. That is coming without my proper setup, with some notes that I have pre-prepared, and I do not have all of them. So what am I going to do for the next 25 minutes? So what I'm going to do today is maybe share with you some of the topics that I've been recently talking about, and that is a topic that's close to my heart, in line with my mission to develop great leaders. That's called leadership development. So I've decided to try something different. As I was walking over here, I thought I could just go to ChatGPT and give or inject a question into ChatGPT and see what are the questions that they come up. So I decided to do that. Just give me a minute. Okay, I have my ChatGPT here. Okay, so it's not on. So I'm going to do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is what questions typically, or maybe what are some of the more challenging questions that the audience will ask if they were to attend a session on leadership, right? So let's challenge myself. I'm doing all this on the fly. It may seem very comfortable, but it's actually not. And let me take on some challenging questions and see how this all goes. Okay, so type in. ChatGPT is generating it. I'm sure all of you have heard of AI and everything, and I'm not going to be another person who is going to talk about it, but certainly I'm going to use it and try and hopefully inspire you guys to try that as well. So it's generated 14 questions, and maybe let me just go through the questions. And for some of you whom you think you are not in leadership position, that this session might not be useful for you, that you would like to turn off, I would like to seek your patience to take a pause and maybe at this point of time be open to the idea that you're here for more reasons than you think you're here for, and that what you think might not be related to you is actually very relatable, or can be very relatable, or is absolutely critical that you stay on with us, right? So the first question that ChatGPT has thrown to me is, how do you handle ethical dilemmas and make tough decisions as a lead? So do you think you are a leader? When we talk about leadership, instinctively, people think about those people who have title, those people who are managing subordinates, they have a team of people that they lead. That's our very typical idea of what a leader means. When in actual fact, we are all leaders. Whether you like it or not, we are leaders. And leadership, to me, is not just about leading people, but leadership is also leading ourselves, leading our family members, leading our parents, leading our bosses, leading our friends, leading their acquaintances, and leading to maybe also partly to talk about influencing others to do what we feel is best for them, what we want them to do. So we are actually leading all the time. So for those who wanted to switch off, I hope I've given you another idea of why this session is actually very related to each and every one of us, right? So ethical dilemma. So when you hear about ethical dilemmas, what comes up to mind? A dilemma is something that you are given a choice that you do not know whether to say yes or no, or it's not a very straightforward choice that has to do with ethics. So it all boils down, to me, at least to me, boils down to character, what type of people you are and what type of values do you live by. Hence, using those values to drive and a certain action, as well as to help you make a decision when you are faced with ethical dilemmas, when you make decisions as a leader. For example, more typically in a corporate environment, when there is budget only to promote someone in an organization, who will you promote? One, someone who is your favorite, subordinate, someone who you can relate to, but his or her performance is all right, or someone who you might not feel you can connect very well, but it's someone who does the right thing and deliver results. So you now have only one budget, or I would say sufficient budget to promote one of them. Who would you promote? So this, you might be confronted with ethical dilemmas. Do I promote someone who is really good at his or her job, but is someone that I can't connect very well with? Or I promote someone who maybe is my good friend, someone I feel very much for, I can connect, someone who accompanies me for happy hour drinks, or support me in everything. Do I promote that person when his or her work is subpar? So this confrontation, when you're confronted with these, it is up to you to decide or to make the decision that you can live by, right? So for me, one of the decisions that have been helpful is really to look at the values that I stand for and what are the values that I want to live by. Have I made decisions that were not really in line with my values and my character? The answer is yes. But you now have a choice. Every opportunity of any dilemma that you're confronted with is another opportunity for you to do the right thing, make a decision based on the values that you stand for, to strengthen you as a person, and in this process reduce the I would say internal fights between who you really want to be, the right thing to do, or who you feel like becoming based on really just pure emotions, right? So how about these dilemmas in maybe a parent making decisions for each of their children? There's a Chinese saying that even the fingers on your hand are of different lengths. Hence, if you have 5 different children, your love for the 5 different children, just like the different length of the fingers, will be of varying degrees. So if you were to be confronted with making a decision for 2 of the children, what would those decisions be? Would those decisions be really supported or generated by emotions only, or you're going to dig down deep into a character of honesty, of credibility, maybe of whatever values they stand for, and then make a decision based on those values, right? The thing that I found very useful as I make more decisions based on consistent character and values that I live by and stand by is that there will be less internal struggle within myself, and hence the decisions that I make, I'm more at peace with. It is also decisions that I would be able to stand by and confidently explain, and it is something that I would need not feel that I cannot support or stand by it, right? So I hope, well, I don't hope, okay? So I want to let all of you know that this is my take on the question on how do you handle ethical dilemmas and make tough decisions as a leader. So let's go on to the second question. And by the way, if any of you are here and would like to ask a question, please type them into the Q&A, and certainly I will look at them and address them when I can. Right. So now, next question. Can you share some examples of leadership failures and the valuable lessons learned from them? So I've been in leadership positions for a good 18 years, whereby I started the Asian subsidiary for an American company that I worked for. And from there, I built up the team in the Asia Pacific region. So I've hired and led a team here for a good 18 years. And maybe I'll share some examples of a failure, or which I feel is a failure, and what are some lessons I learned from them. So I'm a person who is very happy to have my supervisors or my bosses be hands-off. What I really need the intention of what needs to be achieved, like some people call it KPI, which direction we're heading to, by which time we need to achieve those targets, and I'll be good. So once in a while, check-in is good, but I really hate to be micromanaged, meaning I don't like my bosses to be always on the back, checking with me or on me on a daily and regular basis, because that's going to frustrate me. So because of the style at which I like to be led, I assume that everyone loves to be led that way, or I would say responsible enough to be led with a hands-on approach. So I certainly use the same style. I thought if I like to be led that way, people would be happy to be led that way. So I gave direction, intention of what we want to do, set some expectations of what is supposed to be, and basically hands-on, and told the other subordinate that if you do encounter any issues, please come to me. Obviously, things went wrong, and when someone is given too much leeway, the trust is being abused. Right? So ultimately I found out that while I was traveling, my colleague did not turn up to office, and when I made a phone call, and she was surprised that or shocked that I knew she was not in office, and she then sort of gave me a reason that she's not in office because she is on medical leave. I found that conversation kind of suspicious, hence I dig in a little bit. When I came back, and through certain work, I realized that she was actually not on medical certificate at the time that we were chatting, that I called her. In fact, she went and see a doctor to get a medical certificate after we chatted. So this is to me a breach of trust, and obviously I confronted her, and when I presented the facts, she told me that she lied and she panicked, and she went to take on the medical cert just to justify what she said. In addition to that single incident, there were many times whereby the work that were needed to be done were not done on time, and the things that were delivered were subpar and not up to mark. So this to me is a failure from my side, my failure as a leader. I see it as a failure on my side, and that I assume that everyone could work independently like me. Everyone had the same type of responsibilities like me, and everyone loves to not be micromanaged, or to have more regular check-ins relative to what I'm happy with. So this is an example of leadership failure that I saw, and the valuable lesson that I learned from these are, instead of using my own judgment on what I like and how I like to be led, and then lead the people that way, I should have a chat with them and find out how they would like that working relationship to be, and then decide through those conversations, understanding their needs, to decide what type of style I should adopt in order to effectively lead them and ensure that they hit their KPI together. Because if they hit their KPI, the company would be moving in the right direction, and I too will hit my KPI. The other valuable lesson that I learned is to look at transitioning expectations to agreements. Many a times we expect someone to do certain things because we are able to do it, we can do it independently, we expect everyone to be able to do it independently. The fact that we are able to see the clear direction, knows exactly what steps to take when we are given an intention or a direction, we expect that the others will have that same capability or ability. So instead of nowadays having expectations, sometimes I still do, is to change expectations into agreements instead. So instead of expecting he or she to deliver the results or the information within a week, or expecting him or her to report to me on a regular basis, expecting him or her to come to me when I have a problem, I turn that into agreement. So we talk about, can we agree that A, B, C, D, E be ready and be submitted to me by end of the week? Can we agree that if you do have any challenge, you bring up that challenge to me without any delay? Because ultimately the reason why I wanted to be flagged up early is to ensure that I can help you work through the challenge so that you too can deliver the results and a great time, right? So really changing or transitioning expectations into agreements. So this is example of me sharing leadership failure and what some of the valuable lessons that I learned from that. Right. So we have about another 7 minutes. Let me see if there's any question. Question at this point of time. So let me take on a third question from what ChatGPT have given. All right. So how do you build trust and credibility as a leader, especially in challenging or uncertain environments? So building trust and credibility, it's a journey. I think it is not a sprint. Can trust and credibility be built fast? Yes, possibly, but trust and credibility is built over a time frame, right? And you need to show consistency in while you're building trust and credibility. Right? So that to me comes back to your character. Right? If you live by your character and that you're clear of what it is, the chances of you behaving in a consistent manner are much higher relative to you not being very clear or is driven by a common set of values instead of driven by emotions. So if you stay true to your character and your values and you react, or I just say react, you act according to that, whether it is during stressful time, uncertain time, or good times, that when the people experience you, the trust in you will continuously build up over time, and they will have more faith in you. Hence, the credibility that you have delivered would be enhanced because they know that at different occasions throughout the journey, you have responded in a similar fashion. If you're helpful, you have always been helpful, and at times when if you're kind, you're always kind, you're always gentle, and even when at times you need to be more assertive, that they know your intentions are coming from good intentions, that they feel very comfortable to be guided and to work with you as a leader, right? So to me, trust and credibility as a leader is built over time, and it needs to be built over challenging times and uncertain times, as well as during good times. Because if you do not build trust and credibility during the good times, during uncertainties or during challenging times, people might leave you in the lurch. Maybe one example of you as a leader, as a parent, how do you build trust and credibility? Just imagine you tell your children that, whenever you get into trouble, please come to dad and mom's intentions are really to help you through your challenges, and we're here to teach you. That when they then share with you the truth, you may say that, please tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and I'll make sure that you will not be punished, right? Because I rather know the truth than for you to lie. And imagine one day your son comes back and tell you the truth, and the truth hurts because he has done something that is really bad in your opinion. So it is during these occasions that you will have to be really careful and really aware that you stand by your words, and when they come to you with challenges and problems, your intention is to help them overcome those challenges. So if you behave consistently, you will build the trust that dad and mom mean what they say. However, if they bring to you problems and challenges and you react emotionally without being aware of what you said, and then you start lecturing them, telling them how disappointed you are, how bad their action be, and how can they do that, that is going to destroy the trust and the credibility. Right? So we have to be aware that trust and credibility are important to be built up in the corporate setting, the work environment, but certainly they are equally important to be built up in a family environment whereby you as a parent are leading your children in their life journey. So I hope that you'll be able to see the fact that leadership is not meant just for the corporate world, but leadership is available, is there, is present in every part of your life. More importantly, leadership starts with self-leadership, because if you cannot lead yourself well, there is little chance for you to lead others well, let alone lead them effectively. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's talk, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send them to lifecoachuniversity.com, whereby you can find our respective contact. I thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time, every Wednesday, bi-monthly. Hold on, I forgot the time. Is it 1 a.m. US 1 a.m. Or is it 1 a.m. USA time, Eastern time, 12 noon in Thailand, 1 p.m. in Singapore, and you will have to figure out the other timings all around the world. Again, I'm Jackson Tan. Thank you for joining us today. Part of the 10 coaches all around the world coming together to coach all of you in a program we call Let's Coach 2023. So see you soon in 2 weeks' time, and take care. Bye-bye.